Good afternoon, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. I know there's a ton of videos out there, and you decided to click on mine, so thank you for that. And we will be getting into some technical analysis for August 29th. That would be tomorrow, Friday. Friday close, end of the month. We're going to have those updated weekly expected moves for you over the weekend, but because it's the end of the month, we're going to have those updated monthly expected moves for you as well. If you want all the monthly expected moves as we do update them at the end of the month, we will have all of the names on the right side of your screen. We'll have monthly expected moves for all those in Patreon. The link is down in the description. Today, we're going to get into a bunch of different things. We're going to be really talking about some of the ways that this can fall down, but we're also going to talk about the opportunity if it wants to go up. And a lot of people out there think that because a person talks about how it could go up or down, and then they tell you what they're really leaning towards by talking about it the whole time, a lot of people think, oh, this is useless information. I just wanted to put this out there. Not one person in the world can tell the exact future unless you have insider information. And if you have insider information, please share it with us. Please email me your insider information. That would be fantastic so we can all get rich with you. But because I am not an insider and I don't have that information, I take things as they are, which means I am not a mind reader. I look into the probabilities, which means anything can happen the next day. You do not know the future, but you do have a chance to get an edge in the market, and that is what we try to do on this channel. So we will talk about how this market could go down, which there are some signals for that, but we're also going to talk about if it wants to go to the upside, even though I am leaning towards downside and taking building a short position at this point, starting to go a little bit heavier with calling some kind of top, which means I have a very risk managed position. So there's going to be a lot we're going to get into. Please try to stick along with me, and I'm going to start off by getting you some daily expected moves. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we have all the moving averages up for the SPY. We are on the 2-hour chart. We are noticing that there is still the divergence across the way on the MACD and RSI, so let's make sure to get you daily expected moves for the SPY. We're going to do everything throughout the SPY, then we're going to switch over to the Qs if you would like those daily expected moves as well. 652.57 to the upside and 645.15 to the downside. We have also posted all of the daily expected moves for Friday's close of all the stocks over here on the right side of your screen to Patreon if you would like to join. Now, these are some pretty good ranges. It's not a bad size range for the day, but overall, we just got a report with GDP that was like, hey, we are booming. So why the heck are we going to cut rates is pretty much the question here. Hey, yeah, now we're going to cut rates in September, which the probabilities were leaning towards that. We've shown you that for the last 3 weeks, as everyone talked about. It's not going to happen. We showed you that data. So if this is going to be a great thing and we just saw a huge GDP report and there's going to be extreme growth, then shouldn't this thing be kind of popping off a little bit harder? And so something we want to pay attention to is tomorrow's data. Tomorrow's data you will have in the morning. We will get personal income and personal spending. These are very, very important pieces of data, especially the spending part. You want people to be spending that money, because if you're spending that money, even putting it on the credit card, it doesn't matter if it's debt, the market will continue to go higher as revenues do increase for these companies. So we have to be very, very aware of the market. And this is why paying attention to data is in my mind so difficult. And that's why a lot of people resonate with this channel, because we use weekly expected moves, daily expected moves, monthly expected moves, mixed with some technical analysis. And we point out things like 2-hour divergence here. Now, this has not confirmed, but if it were to confirm, it would be what? Closer to that center line. You have it on the RSI as well. So this would mean that we are able to turn down. But we're going to talk about if we're going to continue to squeeze first here, which means if the 2 hour is able to turn down, maybe we see some kind of pullback into next week, and then we're able to curl up into positive territory. Well, then we're going to have a new monthly expected move, and we might actually get to that monthly expected move in September. Even though I am leaning towards some kind of drop for September, if it is just going to be a pullback like this, that would mean the 2 hour is able to get down below that center line, but then is able to reverse back into positive territory as it moves along throughout next week. So that is something that I'm heavily paying attention to. The other thing that could just happen here is this could not cross down. We could start to squeeze, and that's what I think needs to happen in order to get rid of the pullback at least, or get rid of some kind of big drop. I think you need to squeeze, so that data in the morning better be good for you bulls. And if you do see that data as good for the bulls in the morning, if we see a good reaction and we squeeze 652.57, as of right now, if we see a bad reaction, you would say 645.15. If it is surprising surprising. This is a 68% zone with a 32% chance to see something crazy. So 68% of the time you will land in this zone. We are going to potentially land in the weekly expected move, which makes total sense. So if you're not sticking with me just yet, what we have talked about so far, we've given you the daily expected moves. We have talked about a 2-hour pullback potentially happening in here. Now, is a pullback very, very likely? Is this 2-hour likely to curl down? Well, if you look at the 30-minute chart, you are noticing that there is divergence holding across all of this at this point. It is not the most dramatic divergence in the world, but it is there, and it is closer to the center line. Even closer than when we actually rolled down over here. So we are closer to the center line, which means what? This can start to go into a negative trend. If the 30-minute is able to curl down here and we do see a 30-minute divergence next week, well, then wouldn't that tell us that that 2 hour is going to curl back up? That is how we see if the upside continues. I'm not necessarily leaning towards that. I think at these times, I do say what I'm leaning towards and things like that. Note, I trade based on confirmations. I trade based on things that give me confirmation for probabilities to be increased so that I can have an edge. I tell you guys what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think. I told you guys over here, I think that we are going to start to turn up on Wednesday, and we are going to be able to go up. I was about 5-6 hours trading hours off, and we started to go up on Thursday into Friday. Whoop-de-doo. The main thing here was there is a 2-hour pullback by the center line, and the 2-hour will go back up. This is all that is being said on this channel. These are very simple things. Do not overcomplicate them. If you are looking for the next opportunity for upside, you are overbought on this RSI. I would not be going long right here. I would be waiting for a 30-minute pullback to go higher. I would be waiting for most likely a 2-hour pullback to then go higher into next week. Now we know how the SPY would like to go higher, or at least where there would be an obvious opportunity for us to jump into those bullish things. But I am leaning towards downside. Why am I leaning towards downside? I'm going to explain this very thoroughly. You have a 2-hour divergence right here. 2-hour divergences like to do what? They like to turn down daily charts. And yes, that did see a little green blip here, but a lot of the time you will see some interesting things. You will see the market try to go higher. But if it is unable to squeeze here and rolls instead, this can be a major trap. And I'm going to show you volatility in just a moment that says, hey, all these divergences, they're on the other side as well. Did those become very aggressive? Did they become more significant? Well, this divergence wasn't significant at all. This divergence was, and if you make a triple one, that's going to be huge. So we have to see how this happens over the next couple trading sessions. But for now, it says there is very much so heightened risk going into the next couple of trading sessions. Now I'm going to show you the flip side of this and say, what do we like to see on the SPY if we're going to see a big drop, if we're going to see some kind of macro high placed here, which no, I don't think this is actually going to be a massive stock market crash. I think this will be an actual daily retracement. You probably heard me talking about the daily retracement here, and we were right that the market fell down, and we quickly said, hey, if we see a higher low on the 30-minute, it can turn up. We said the same thing with all these drops, okay, guys? So you have to be trading like water. The daily scale, if that turns down, well, let's go look at volatility. Volatility is still holding every single divergence point on this MACD. The RSI is holding every single divergence point, especially in the near price action. I think we did give up right in here. We had divergences, but we're holding the main point, and then we keep seeing them come up. The main thing is we never violated this guy, and in the near term, we haven't violated these, which is very interesting as far as momentum goes. It is a complex signal, in my opinion, but the main thing here is the MACD is very close to the center line. When the MACD gets close to the center line, you see volatility, positive territory with divergence. You see right in here, positivity, right? Because we are going into positive territory. This is going to be a big deal, and this needs to go away to see bullishness. So this is your big signal that says, hey, if I confirm up this time, and I have something underneath me that maybe looks like it can tell me if this is going to curl up, then we're going to see a daily retracement. That is the most probable thing to happen now, if these things confirm. So we see the 2-hour chart. What likes to curl up a daily chart? 2-hour divergence, if you want to learn all of the things that I'm talking about, if anything here is confusing you, there is a course down in the description that will help you. It is called the Full Technical Analysis course. It is 90% off for my birthday month. It is $100 right now to learn about these divergences and learn about all of these indicators and learn everything that we are talking about, learn about moves, everything. It will help you out in your trading. It will help you be able to dictate if things are a good decision or a bad decision using those moves. It is great for you, and we're going to talk about everything we've talked about already is already things in that course, but now we're going to talk about it again, so pay attention. We see that the 2-hour has divergence here. We see the 2-hour divergence on the MACD. We see it on the RSI. I will blow it up for you real quick. Divergence. I will blow it up for you real quick. Divergence, very significant. If we see volatility kick in tomorrow, we can start to see upside. We can start to see a daily cross up and see a move like this one, like this one, like this one back here. That's what we can see if this 2-hour is able to confirm, because you have divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time, and the SPY has everything in the opposite direction at the same time. This is a very, very big deal. You need to be watching this, because if you decide to go long and say, we're going to squeeze at the top of this thing that we've gone up for a long time, you're saying, I'm going to go long when the daily scale has gone up this whole entire time and has not even come down to test the 50, let alone the 200. And you'll see the moments where we do see those type of squeezes. And right when you think, oh, I'm going to go up to this high at the top, and you see all those divergences form, and then finally it does what? It pulls further down than the 50. I am talking very seriously about this because I know that this move right now, the entire move for the last month, has been to bait you in. Those bigger drops that just save themselves, they're to bait you into thinking that this market is going to just go straight to 700. It is not. It is going to pull back. We are going to see a better opportunity than this, even if it wants to leak out higher into September. You are very likely to see a pullback into October if you confirm signals going into next week. So I have talked about how this market could go higher. Pay attention to that. You're a trader. Be able to go both ways. If the 2-hour pulls back and the 2-hour turns up, it's a potential opportunity. But if the 2-hour crosses down, it doesn't cross back up, we curl down the daily, we see volatility start to pop off, we get some bad data, we start to lose these lows, you might come all the way back down to 600. And so that's why I'm talking very seriously about it. Okay? I really want to give both sides. I really do. And that's why I talked about the bullish thing. The bullish thing is still, and when I say bullish thing, I mean, when is it an actual opportunity? If you're a day trader, I'm sorry, I'm not a day trader. I take positions 2 weeks to 2 months out. And you know what I'm building right now? I'm building a short position 2 months out. That's what's overall happening. I'm looking at end of September, maybe mid-October, maybe October expiration. That's what I've been doing, building those areas. And then I have to see what shapes up. But overall, this is, hey, if the 2-hour pulls back and I see that cross up, do you think I'm going to hold on to those positions? No, I'm going to flip. But as of right now, I am heavily leaning towards some kind of bigger drop, and I hope that you are taking this information very seriously, especially if you are trying to bet a bunch of money right now that will affect your life. Now let's get into the Qs. The Qs are not making a new high. What did we suggest throughout this entire move that the Qs could do in order to set up a macro high? Well, at a lot of macro highs, the SPY is able to go to a new high, make a divergence, and the Qs are not able to, and they make a lower one. It looks like we are starting to shape that up right now. As we look at the 2-hour chart, if this wants to continue, it's going to be difficult because the MACD is so close to negative territory. If we go negative in here, you would have to curl back up. So we'll look for those little 30-minute signals down in there throughout next week. If we curl up, we can go test these highs, or at least test this near high and then go make a new one. Why am I talking about this curling down? Well, let's get you daily expected moves first, okay? We have 581.13 to the upside, 572.99 to the downside, okay? So the 2-hour curls down, negative territory. We can go into a negative trend. You can make divergences. You can curl up. We're going to keep updating you as this shapes up, as the market proves itself, because we are not mind readers. We see here that the 30-minute chart is shaping up a very flat, slightly down, but very flat divergence here. We see that it is slightly down for the MACD. I'm sorry that I am so bad at drawing, but you can see that that is slightly down, and you can see that this is flat to, ooh, nice. We'll call it flat because it is slightly above. So this isn't showing you the most weakness in the world. So what could happen here? We could leak this out, right? We want to see us lose the 5, but overall we want to see this thing shoot down and go negative. We really want to go negative. You see how that really starts to pump up the selling as we go negative. So if this is able to curl down here, we would be looking for a 30-minute maybe divergence or higher low to tell us that that 2-hour curls up. That is the bullish opportunity in my opinion. Unless you're already part of a squeeze, holding things, maybe hedging or something like that. But if this is able to curl down right now, the daily has not confirmed up. This is extremely weak, and it would be the macro top style thing that you do see a lot of the time during macro tops. You do see that the Qs make a lower high while the SPY goes and makes a divergence, and that is the exact thing that we have right now. So if the 2-hour is able to roll here, there would be extreme weakness in momentum. Yes, you would pay attention to the management of the trade, but overall, if you see this come down and then you bounce up back into the premium sellers that started you off, well, if this curls down again, then that just might be a price action thing to actually shoot down to lower levels. So I wouldn't be too excited about the Qs curling down on a 2-hour, and we'll have to continue to watch the market prove itself, because I think we're about to see a wave of volatility come in, and that's shown just a little bit ago from the VIX, looking at the 2-hour chart, showing you the divergences, showing you how the daily scale can curl up and go into positive territory. Lastly here, we will be putting out, so make sure you like and subscribe and do all the things. And if you want any kind of learning material, if you want extra information, all of that is down there in the description. Check it out. But wanted to touch on one last thing as we sum up this video. We've talked very seriously about, hey, what's the actual bullish opportunity if it shows its face, a 2-hour pullback again? What is the actual risk here? The risk is that volatility is going to curl up and it's going to come in mean, and we're going to see a retracement, a bigger drop, a bigger, more sell side activity into October. But for the weekly chart here, should we be very, very afraid that this is going to be some kind of stock market crash? I wanted to touch on this. Just because at the end of the video, we are very, very positive. If you notice at these times, we get these little pullbacks. Here is what you are in store for. Something like this, something like this. These type of things would make a lot of sense. You just turn down for 3 to 6 weeks. That would make a lot of sense. And it looks like we are in store for some kind of turn down, maybe to go into the 20 on the weekly scale, maybe to go a little bit deeper into the 50 on the weekly scale, and then we'll be able to curl up into positive territory. I do not think that the bullishness is done. I think the market is just going to back off sometime in the near price action. And I would have to say, I think it's going to start to back off. And I will actually say exactly what I think at the end of the video. I think this thing starts to back off right now. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful to you. I hope you took a lot of the information seriously. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace out.